thing is out. But he is so committed to African-centered education. He founded a school. Again, he didn't just talk about it, he did something. He founded a school in West Palm Beach called the Nguzo Saba, Joseph Little's Nguzo Saba Charter School. And he was the headmaster for 10 years. He recently retired a couple of years ago. And the school started losing resources and you know, financially went into a lot of problems. So he started a fundraising campaign. And then he decided, hey, I think I'll take a walk to Washington. And just to not only help raise funds for the school, but to create more awareness when it comes to African-centered education. This walk, this trek, has really generated a lot of interest. And if you want to find out more about it and help the school too, you can do that as well by going to izania.com. And Izania is spelled I-Z-A-N-I-A. That'll be on the screen as well. I-Z as in zebra, A-N-I-A, izania.com. Brother Roger Madison, right in Columbus, Ohio, is coordinating this effort for Amafika Geuka and the school. And the walk began on July 15th, and Brother Amafika is scheduled to make it to Washington. An ambitious schedule, I must say, on August the 13th. August 13th. And of course, he's going up the East Coast, going through Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas, Virginia, and into Washington, D.C. And he's going to present a petition to the Obama administration, as well as the Department of Education Secretary Arnie Duncan, to suggest that black people have a right, just like any other group, to determine the kind of education that we want for our children. And he's not going up there to beg anybody for money, even though he suggests very strongly, and I agree, that black people have just as much right to any kind of public money for education as any other groups do. But what he's doing is bringing more attention to the fact that black folks need to step up. He calls it, the campaign, calling the village to account. Calling those of us of consciousness, those of us who care, those of us who are concerned about the education of our own children, calling us to account. So he's asking the question by his 1,000-mile walk, what are you guys going to do? I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm putting my action where my mouth is. You know, I'm not just talking about the importance of education. I am doing something. He's going to walk over 1,000 miles to demonstrate this. That's his commitment. What's yours going to be? Now, Amafika Geuka is 69 years old. 69 years old. And he is setting out to walk to Washington. How can we help? How can we participate? Again, go to the website, izania.com. And what we can do, and he has suggested this, I was on a conference call with him a few days ago. And what they want to do is have convergence walks. People who cannot walk with him along the way or meet him in Washington, D.C. for the rally there can have local walks. And the first thing we thought about was the Cleaster Mims School. Now, you may not know about this, but right here in Cincinnati, in a so-called black community, there is a school, a huge building out in Silverton on Belkenton, B-E-L-K-E-N-T-O-N, Belkenton Avenue. Cleaster Mims owns that building. It used to be a boarding school. It is huge. We can support her, and we can help her to hold on to this building. Is a tremendous asset in the community. And we can help raise funds to maintain control of that building, because, you know, a huge piece of property sitting on about 6 or 7 acres is very valuable, and other folks always want to take stuff, you know, like that. She has managed to hold on this long. I don't know how much longer she's going to be able to hold on without community support. And there's a group out here organizing ways to help her raise funds to hold on to that tremendous asset out there. I've been out there. Matter of fact, I brought a national meeting to Cincinnati, and we had the meeting there at the school. I wanted people to see this building. And of course, we paid Mrs. Mims to do that. And that's important too, brothers and sisters, that we understand that we need to circulate our dollars, and we need to not expect everything that black people do for us. We need not expect it to be free. I mean, how can we talk about economic empowerment among our own people, and we keep saying, approaching people, I need you to do this for me, but I don't have any money. We need to change that. That's not appropriate either. But we approached Ms. Mims and said, well, I talked to her and said, I'd like to have this meeting, this national meeting. I'm bringing in people from all over the country, and we'd like to have it at your building. How much would you charge? I mean, that's appropriate. That's appropriate. If she wanted to give it to me free, fine. We probably would have still raised some money to give to her, because we understand it takes money to keep that building open. It's a huge building. It's a beautiful asset in our community. If you want to support it, again, call me, and I will put you in touch with the folks who are working with that. And that's Jerry Robinson is the primary person. But in relationship to the walk that Amafika is doing, we could have a walk right here in Cincinnati, 5 miles or something, in support of Cleaster Mims School, and tie it to the national walk that Amafika Geuka is doing from West Palm Beach up to Washington, D.C. So if you want to do that, you want to get involved with that, just give me a call. I'll put you in touch with Jerry Robinson, and we can make that happen. The other thing I want to talk to you about when it comes to acting appropriately is what's going on in this city in terms of economic development and the opportunities that are presented to black people when it comes to getting involved, both in terms of workforce development and subcontracting. You know, for years, I have pushed and advocated for black businesses just to no end, to be involved in economic development projects, especially those that are put forth by the city and county, from the development all the way down to the lowest paying job on that particular project. And I still, continue to advocate for that. Even though we've seen a lot of failed projects when it comes to our inclusion, even though we've seen a lot of promises that have been broken, when it comes to the last 15 years of economic development projects we've seen in this city, we've heard a lot of lies, we've seen a lot of shell games and smoke and mirror kinds of processes, and we have been continuously excluded rather than included. What do? Do we throw up our hands and walk away and say, well, I'm never going to try again? I don't think so. I think we keep fighting. But we have to fight in a way that is going to give us the results that we want. And my contention is that we need more of us to work together, to fight as a gang, a gang. We need to gang up on some folks. And that's why I'm so proud to be a part of the coalition building process that we started about a year ago with the NAACP, the Baptist Ministers Conference, the IMA, the Collective Banking Group, and other groups have come together, not just individuals, but groups have come together around a common philosophy when it comes to economic empowerment. And the most immediate, or I shouldn't say the most immediate, but an additional opportunity that is available now to black-owned companies, businesses that are involved in building trades, is the Fay Apartments. Now, some of you probably don't even know that City Council approved a loan to the developers, the private developers of the Fay Apartments. They've been trying to get this done for many years. HUD is involved. They've given some money for the total renovation of the Fay Apartments. Now, who lives in the Fay Apartments? And if you recall, back when I was doing radio, when the proposal for Hope 6 in the West End was coming down, I said, today, Hope 6, you're going to see those homes, those apartments and everything torn down. New buildings will be built, and we see it now. Of course, during the building of it, we still had to push for black businesses to be involved to get contracts, but that's done. West End is not, at least that part of the West End is no longer the way we knew it growing up. And I'm not saying it's bad. I am saying, though, we missed a big opportunity to be involved to a larger degree. I still see a lot of vacant storefront properties down there on Lynn Street that should be occupied with businesses, entrepreneurship. And I did encourage a lot of the residents who live down there to open businesses there so they wouldn't have to be leaving their communities to get the things that they need. They could go right to work by walking right down the street and doing, or starting their own business down there. Didn't happen. After that, I suggested that English Woods would be closed and torn down. I think that's already happened too. I don't know if there's any development going on up there, but that happened. And on the radio I said, the next will be the Fay Apartments. And this was like 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And I said, because they're, you know, the Fay Apartments have been up there for a long time, up on this nice hill, the view, nice view and everything. I said, that's going to be the next target. And it is. However, the private developers came to a group of us and talked about, or asked for our support, and in return, reciprocity, in return, they would allow and open up the process to a much larger degree than we've seen in the past when it comes to other projects. I met with them recently, and I think the opportunity is there for black people to really be involved in the total renovation of the Fay Apartments. Now, who better to rebuild and revive the Fay Apartments than black folks? I mean, we paid the rents, we've lived there for years and years and years. Of course, if it's going to be torn down and rebuilt, black people should have a heavy, heavy involvement in that. And the opportunity is there. Now, I'm putting the call out for those of you who may not have heard about it. The bids are being taken now. The bid deadline for the bids is July 28, 2009. You need to call me if you're a small business, if you deal with different trades. When, you know, I don't know all the trades, like painting and drywall and masonry and electricity, you know, everything that you can think of that has to go into the building or rebuilding of these apartments, they're going to need. So here's an opportunity. And I'm giving you my number. It'll be on the screen. You call me, and I will put you in touch with the right folks. You're going to need to submit a bid. You ought to be used to that if you're in business. If you're not, we can help with that as well. And I'm doing this because even though other organizations know about this and putting it out on their websites and everything, I know that traditionally a lot of the smaller businesses don't hear about this. I talked to one just yesterday, and he didn't even know about this. He's been in business for 20 years. But a lot of our small business owners, especially black business owners, are not in the loop. And that perpetuates this cycle that we've seen in Cincinnati, where only 4 or 5 black-owned businesses tend to get all of the contracts and subcontracts that come from these kinds of projects. We don't want this to happen this time. So we have done something based upon the knowledge that we have. We've acted appropriately by putting the call out to real small businesses. And those are the businesses that the developers want. They want the smaller ones to come in and to do the kinds of things that are going to be needed at the Fay Apartments. So if you want to get involved, you need to call me, 489-4132, and I can help put you in touch with the appropriate contacts. And you need to keep in mind that the bid deadline is July 28th, July 28, 2009. You need to have some documents together. So, but we can help with that. So I want you to give me a call. The Fay Apartments is going to be done whether you do it or not. It's going to be done. And we don't want to wait until it's over and look back up on the hill. Oh, when did they do that? Oh, I should have had a contract. Oh, I could have done that. Too late. Black folks always seem like we're a day late and a dollar short. Look at the License Bureau. I talked about that for like 2 months before it closed. The License Bureau in Jordan Crossing. Now it's closed, and people, oh, well, how did that happen? Why did they do that? I got calls from people after it was too late. What can we do to keep it open? Nothing now. It's closed. It's too late. And what are black folks going to do? They're going to run down the street, right down the street, instead of going across town to the other only black-owned license bureau over in Western Hills on Crookshank, I think it is. They're not going to do that because they're going to say, oh, that's too far, I can't go. How many times do you have to go to the license bureau? Once or twice a year, right? Once a year for your plates and every 4 years to get your license renewed. Why not make that sacrifice and keep on going to a black-owned license bureau since they closed yours? But no, most folks will go down the street about 1.5 miles and support the very one that was put there to put yours out of business. Inappropriate behavior, brothers and sisters, inappropriate.